It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. It's Top Rope Tokes here to review another episode of AEW Dynamite. I am just saying that over there is Range of Motions, and we have an important and eventful show to talk about for tonight.
Oh yeah, we do. Oh yeah, we do. We started the night right off with the Battle Royale to determine who's going to face John Moxley later on in the main event. Um, don't want to go over too much of this because it is a Battle Royale, so everything is fast. You can't tell what's going on half of the time. There's some big spots that you'll catch here and there. But so our first entrants we had in there were Tony Nese, Daniel Garcia, Lance Archer, Darby Allin, and Eddie Kingston.
Then next
Not
was Diamonds with Starks, Hager, Ray Phoenix, Swerve, and Keith Lee.
yeah, yeah. And still, and it's this is when it starts to get crazy. Is when the third group comes in, and it's just chaos now. So we've got next in the third group coming in is John Silver, Konosuke Takeshita, Max Caster, and the Gun Club come in as the last three entrants. So of course we get a Max Caster freestyle, which I highly enjoy. That there's chaos in the ring, and he's slowly walking up to the ring, just talking mad shit about everybody.
Yep, and then of
So
course
great.
Demi and Last gives them all the time in the world to do the full promo with, both the Ass
Yeah,
Boys messing up the city, and then Bowman's getting the mic, doing the whole Ass Boys chant, and yelling as it was almost like they were cutting the mic out from them, like their time was up because they went to focus on the ring and everything else. We got to hear him just in the background yell, "Sesame Daddy ass."
yeah, yeah. You got to get that in there. I don't, I don't know why, but we need to get that in there. Yeah. So there's quite a bit of Gun Club. They get in the middle of the ring and do that like Spider-Man meme thing, but they just scissor each other.
Um, I'll
um,
just do real quick the last of the groups and the people that came in, and then just add in the one spot, the one couples. It's two beats, but one
spots that we got.
story.
Yeah.
Um, but last we had Hobbs, Red Dragon, Dante Martin, and Wheeler Yudo's back. And then the Joker was Andrade, who they booked really, really strong throughout the match. One thing worth noting during this is at one point, I believe it was Tony Nese that was battling Swerve on the apron, and Keith Lee
Mhm.
came up, knocked just like a push to Tony Nese off, and
He just
then
it was like almost like he just flicked him off the ring.
Swerve was like, "Thank you," and Swerve was in no rush to get back in the ring, hugged Keith Lee from the ring apron before he got back in the ring, and the only reason that matters is because later in the match, when Swerve had the chance to swerve Keith Lee, he took it. And he looked like a shady bastard doing it, just the way he taunted and everything after, and just was smiling. And we got
Yeah, he was
big,
just like,
angry.
"Hey man, I did what I had to do."
We got big, angry, Incredible Hulk Keith Lee just angry at ringside, like, the fuck, man.
I wonder if that's gonna be a thing in the future here.
The only thing that I could see that might play into it, because obviously something's got to happen with that at some point, is
Mhm.
when Darby ran at Swerve. Swerve was able to eliminate him. Swerve went out right after him, and they were kind of staring each other down at ringside when they were both eliminated. So there might be somehow that gets mixed up. And honestly, move the TNT title of that feud, because you could just do like a kind of go around for a couple of months just between the three of them, kind of going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, later on in the show, we kind of know what's in
True.
store for the TNT title coming up. I would like to see what you're talking about. Like Swerve and Darby, just like the one match that they put on was great, and I would love to see those two
Yeah.
keep on going with that.
And especially if you can have a scene of like 3 or 4 people for a while where they're all kind of interconnected, where you can kind of play with moving chess pieces is nice. And then there's
Yeah.
so many other things that can get involved in there because you could easily just throw Ricky Starks back into that mix with Swerve and Keith Lee. But in the end of this match, after being left alone with Andrade and Kyle O'Reilly, Wheeler Yuta was able to eliminate Andrade. It looked like he was going to take out Kyle. Kyle managed to actually fall back in the ring before eventually eliminating Wheeler Yuta and securing his spot in the main event.
O'Reilly versus Moxley in the main event. O'Reilly's been putting on great match after great match. So we cut right to a Moxley promo after this. Um, it was a little awkward to me. He thanked New Japan and AEW. But the gist that I got out of this is that he wants to be the man in both companies.
Well, what I got out of it, and it was kind of the way they formatted it was kind of out of order to me because he ended by talking about the past by saying like he came in before and he basically took over the whole wrestling world in one swoop because he was kind of dominating in New Japan and AEW and all that at the same time. But in the middle, he was talking about how it's been a tough time since he's been champion. So it was just kind of weird for him to cycle back to even further in the past at the very end without kind of, um, I guess, hammering at home that I think his point was, hey, I've done it before and it can happen very swiftly again.
Then we cut to our announcers as they have a couple announcements for us. They tell us that CM Punk's surgery was today and it went well. They still don't say what the injury is. They just said leg surgery. Very vague. So, yeah, still have no idea. But they also announced that there is a new title belt, the All Atlantic Championship.
Which
And
they did not explain very well until you got to the tournament formatting and you see that there is basically flags associated to every single wrestler in it. So maybe it's just not America.
I think it's
I'm trying to
just, yeah, I
remember.
think it's just not US then. But yeah, but basically it just, yeah, they didn't explain a ton too well, but it seems like this is their international champion title of, hey, we don't want Americans for this title. Let's showcase all the people that we've gathered from all over the world, which I thought was pretty cool.
The promo package and then the way they talked about it wasn't clear, which I've noticed from people chatting is something people are kind of getting tired of because there's been a number of instances lately where they've tried to really rush something that's possibly a little bit more complicated than it needs to be and trying to explain it over top of other things. But this looked like it was going to be, I think, 4 matches where the 4 winners will have a 4-way match at Forbidden Door.
Yes, yes. Um, we had the first match right after this complicated explanation of this new championship belt, which I was pretty excited about this first match. Buddy Matthews versus Pac. Um, man,
The
like,
biggest small boys.
yeah, I'm gonna say these guys like mirror each other so much. And but this match super quick. I mean, not like it, not in the way that it ends fast at all. It doesn't end fast, but I'm just mean because of how athletic these two guys are. Like everything just moves so fast, spot to spot.
And you're right with how they mirror each other because
Counters, arm drags.
even if you think about the way that they strike each other, like with their kicks and stuff, the way
Hmm.
they might pause and take a beat, and then it's just such a sudden, quick like spin kick or something like that. It's very deliberate. It's very just burst, burst, burst.
Yeah,
I was excited
yeah.
for it. I feel I would have been surprised if Buddy had won. I would have been surprised. I really
Yeah,
do,
Pac is definitely like more established in AEW for sure.
and he's kind of was like the top dog in a way of Death Triangle, because Lucha Bros is more of the tag team, and
Yeah.
versus Buddy, he's the low guy on the totem pole. Like Julia Hart, the cheerleaders, pretty much already surpassed him.
Just weird. So weird. Yeah.
He only gets win for every tattoo that he gets.
Oh,
Zero tattoos, zero
zero
singles wins.
tattoos, zero singles wins.
That or you have to
I
leave
love
the
that.
House of Black. One
At
one of the two. You can't do both.
what was that at Double or Nothing? Somebody had the sign that said "Make Buddy Matthews get tattoos."
It would make sense because yeah, the trios match.
Yeah,
I remember you
I
pointing it
think that
out.
was. Yeah, they said that. Yeah, I agree though. Make Buddy Matthews get some tattoos.
The only thing really notable about this match, besides really really fast in their style, which makes it very entertaining just to kind of sit back and watch, is towards the very end. Pac hits a poison Rana where it looks like he came down on his own head. Because as
Yeah,
he
that
goes to
looked
get back
scary.
up, he was kind of slow about even raising his head, and he kind of looked like he was lost for half a second. But he ended up within the next few seconds setting up and going up to the top rope and hitting the Black Arrow and getting the win.
Yeah, yeah, that his splash. I'm telling you, he must have been a gymnast. He must have been a gymnast. That splash is dope. But yeah, so yeah, Pac picks up the win. Uh, his buddies, the Lucha Bros, come in to the ring to celebrate with him, patting him on the back, giving him hugs, and all of that. House of Black enters at the top of the entrance ramp, kind of giving Buddy Matthews the
I'm not mad. I'm
you,
disappointed in you
the disappointed dad look that they all gave him.
because he was still on the ground, just like looking up at him, like he kind of crawled up the ramp, kind of thing. But
Yeah,
then we cut.
but yeah,
I think you. I can't remember if this is the part that you missed
nope.
because right after
Well,
that we cut to an Eddie Kingston.
before we do that, want to also mention that there is a brief little stare down here with Penta and Malachi Black as they're going to be facing each other as well as part of this tournament.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because they were welcoming him
Penta's in the
back.
ring, just come on, come on.
Phoenix was too. I was just assuming it was because of their recent like feud. I wasn't even thinking about
Oh yeah,
that
no, it's
match.
because Penta and Malik. I don't know when that match. They didn't say when it's going to be, but yeah, but it is part of that tournament.
And I do not make notes of every time they flash future cards because sometimes it'll be like 6 or 7 segments for the next two shows, and I'm not writing all that down.
But yeah, I
Um,
just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because I thought that was pretty. Like it's not huge, but it's a little. It's something definitely worth mentioning.
so it's gonna probably happen within the next 7 days, whether Rampage or Dynamite or something. It's gonna be one of the next matches that happens with that tournament. Um,
Definitely.
but they interrupt in kind of like they made it seem very unplanned that Eddie Kingston randomly grabbed a mic and he was backstage and he was like, "They told me I got 1 minute. I don't need a minute." Basically complains about Hager eliminating him from the Battle Royal. Okay, that's what's supposed to happen. Um, he says, "You cost me my shot at the championship." What the beef really should have been about was after Hager eliminated Eddie, someone eliminated Hager, and when Hager was on the outside, they showed replays of it that he started stomping on Eddie on the outside. Of course, in the first grouping was him and Garcia, and they went at it. So after he talks about Hager, he talks about all of Jericho Appreciation Society, and then basically he wants Hager Friday night on Rampage, which got confirmed later.
Yeah, yeah. Then we cut to another promo after this one A lot of promos today.
Well, it was a
This one is
commercial in between.
yeah. Well, yeah, there is a commercial here in between, but we get Trent Beretta in the ring. Um, but kind of know what Trent wants. Trent gets right to the point. Him and he feels like Roppongi Vice got screwed in their match with FTR for that Ring of Honor championship, which yeah, they did get screwed. So he says we want that rematch, and they deserve it. Mm-hmm. FTR, I guess he said what did he say? FTR is supposed to be fighting champions. That's what they call it. Yeah, they're the fighting champions. So they're the kind of guys that will defend the belt anytime they get a chance to.
Well, what it was
Uh,
is that was the match that New Japan interfered with, so they didn't lose the match. They just also didn't win the match.
mhm.
So they figured FTR, they're not the kind of team to want to let it go down that way. And they come out, Dash pretty much agrees with them, says, "You're right. Like, we want to show that we're the best, and we didn't beat you. We didn't lose to you, but we didn't get to
Yeah,
make it undeniable that we beat you." So they were in agreement with them.
yeah.
Um,
He says, but don't. Yeah, he says, but like, but you're basically your anger is misdirected. Like you're supposed to be angry at the United Empire right now. Like,
well,
yeah, we'll give you your rematch, but you should be angry with the United Empire.
that was
'Cause they're the
Dax,
ones that ruined your town.
and he actually referred to them as Osprey's bitch boys. And then the United Empire's music hits, and then one of the guys in the ring, because this is when they're cutting back and forth, said, "Oh, yep, here's New Japan. Here we go." And they're waiting. Will Osprey runs on stage, acting all hype, looking like a Paul brother. Meanwhile, just a setup because Aussie Open attacks him from behind. They all end up in the ring attacking and laying him out, which I didn't really completely catch this until the right at the end of the show. Um, but it will be Osprey and Aussie Open versus FTR and Trent on Friday night.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so Rampage has got a few nice matches coming up. It sounds like that they're setting up here.
They're stacking a lot of these shows lately, heading up to Forbidden Door, and then even after Forbidden Door, the show that we get to go to is Blood and Guts. Sorry, just so hyped for so much happening so soon because there's another thing that we'll get to later about another match that was made for next week that's going to be fucking insane. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. So yes, after this one, we've got a promo here with Mr. William Regal, Adam Cole, and Red Dragon. Um, not too much to go on here that I caught. Regal says that Kyle O'Reilly isn't ready for John Moxley. Like Regal says that he's even afraid of John Moxley because John Moxley is a creepy tweaker that's supposed to be a tough guy, but he looks like a tweaker to me. But yeah, so he pisses off Kyle O'Reilly, obviously, by saying that he's not ready for John Moxley. I don't know if you caught much anything else out of that promo that I should have caught.
He basically was like, "You're not ready. Think about your family." And Kyle does the very generic baby facing. I do think about my family. That's all I think about, and just says like it's his whole motivation for everything. Um,
Okay.
then we get Adam Cole coming out to commentary. He says he has to leave because he's going for commentary, so he's on his way out. Because next is David Finley versus Hangman Adam Page.
Yeah. I like this match a lot actually. This is this match was super clean. Like most matches, I don't know why, but I'm always looking for the mess ups. I think that's one of my favorite things to pick out. And this match is so clean. Uh, I think like this was my first match that I watched with Hangman that like I was truly a big fan of.
I've enjoyed a lot of Hangman matches, but not for the same reasons that I would enjoy others. Because since he's been champion, there's been the Texas death matches and stuff, which are very spot oriented and a little bit less wrestling and just big thing after big thing of carnage. So it's a little bit it's entirely different viewing experience.
Yeah.
Um, but I can think back to a number of matches that I really liked of his. But this one, there was one thing that you got to see for the very first time while actually watching it, and I thought it might have been a very important story beat as well. Do you remember what that was?
Are you talking about when he was drinking that lady's beer?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely the first. Like I knew because I've, I've paid attention to his story a little bit just because when I got back into wrestling, I needed to know why he was so big, and I definitely saw that he would just randomly drink in the crowd sometimes, and some of the stuff, and like COVID time, yeah, I see why he probably stopped doing that.
Well, part of the story was just him losing his confidence and just kind of being down on himself as he was falling apart with his old friendship. So he became an alcoholic. So on his way back up with the Dark Order and stuff, he had to get over the drinking and everything. So just even hinting at, oh, is this back to Hangman always drinking with the crowd and just being a mess? But all he did was take a little sip because
It just took a little sip.
you see just a little bit like on his facial hair.
Yeah, yeah, he just wanted his quick sip of beer. I don't blame him. Sometimes I just want a quick sip of beer too.
But after he gets a win with the buckshot lariat, we also hear about something else he wanted.
Yep. Yeah, he grabs that mic. He talked about the elephant in the room earlier with him not being involved in that battle royale for the interim AEW title, but he does explain that he has other another title belt in his sights. He would like to be the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So he wants Okada, assuming that Okada is going to retain the belt.
Because
But
he was calm about the I want the IWGP, and then he got more intense, and he just declared like adamantly, I want Okada. So like that, it was almost like the championship is nice, but he wanted to climb the mountain that is Kazuchika Okada.
yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Okada, but I just hear that he puts on top-notch matches every single time he's in the ring.
Now this weekend we'll sit down and spend. We could literally watch a series of matches with Kenny Omega and Okada, and just be sitting there for like 3 hours, just with like four matches, three,
Say,
four matches.
say there, and say from what I know about the Kenny Omega story, there's at least I was going to say at least one of those is an hour long.
There's an hour long draw. Then there's one that they put no time limit on it, and I think it went just over an hour. Then there was a tournament match that went like it's those were time limit draws of 30 minutes, so it was like a 25-minute, but it was a crazy 25 minutes. So I know of at least those three. I just can't remember if I was missing anything. Um, but
Yeah,
Cole, who remember was on commentary for David Finley, gets up. He says, "Hold on, you lost your title. I just won the Owen." Adam Cole says he should get that title shot, and that
yeah.
AEW is
He's
all about Adam Cole, baby.
yeah,
They said
yeah.
boom.
He's
That's
like
why.
you don't even know. Yeah, he says you know you don't even know how to think like a champion. He said, "How do you even know Okada's going to be the champion?" He says it might be Jay White by that time.
Mm-hmm. My boy
But
Jay White.
but yeah, but yeah, Adam Cole definitely gets the last word. Adam Page in the ring is looking real upset because Cole just torched his ass.
I don't even. We
And
just
it wasn't like he put him down. It was just like the points that he made were like, yeah, yeah, you're right.
but we
You
just had
definitely
those
deserve
two.
it.
We just had those two recently. I don't know if they're trying to set up something for them again. Like literally just had 2 matches with them not that long ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know what exactly is going on here in terms of the future. I hope they don't throw them back together. Kind of like how I really did not want Wheeler Yuta to win the Battle Royale, so we would see him
Right.
versus
So we didn't
Moxley
have to
against
see another
Sue.
Moxley.
Um, After that, there was a stupid, a stupid. I
Oh,
mean,
but
there was a couple of decent. There was like it was a couple awkward lines, but overall it was just the most simplest promo. They they were showing a video package of Rosa doing a promo backstage earlier. I think she was laying out an open challenge. It sounded like, which
yep,
makes
she said
this
she'll face anybody.
right. So which makes this even more awkward that Shafir had to interrupt her to get her attention. And Rosa goes, "What's your problem?" Like, you just issued an open challenge. She's there. Why would you be like, "What's your problem?" And
Mhm.
Shafir's nickname being the problem, she was like, "I want to be your problem. Can you solve me?"
Yeah, it was. I wasn't. I was. It felt like she was trying to seduce her a little bit there, and it was hot.
It was very straight face, soft spoken, no emotion. Just, yeah, not much to it. It
Like
was
I'm the
weird.
problem. You want this problem. Oh man. Oh,
Next, we actually
okay.
get a good promo, though.
We did get a good promo. We get Wardlow entering, and Wardlow takes the mic and he explained. Well, Tony first lets us know that Wardlow wasn't interested in being in the battle royale. Sorry, earlier that night, uh, Wardlow takes the mic to go ahead and explain exactly what the reasoning for it was. He stated, no matter who wins this thing, Punk is still the champion, and he doesn't want to be champion if he doesn't get to beat Punk first. So he says, CM Punk, hurry up and heal up so he can come and beat you, get healthy, because he wants that title. But he actually said that he's got his sights on another title right now, which we were talking about this TNT title belt earlier. But Wardlow wants the TNT title. He says he didn't. So he had this belt already, right?
No, he
Is that
had the
no?
shot.
He had a shot at the belt. That's what it was. Yeah, he had the shot at the belt.
That was
But now
right when
he's
he was splitting with MJF, so they cost him it.
right. So yeah. So now he's back again, and he says, "I want Scorpio again." Well, he doesn't want Scorpio. He just wants that belt. But Scorpio takes offense to this as he comes hobbling on out on basically 1 foot in his candy cane button-up shirt, and he looks like he's ready for a fight. He starts unbuttoning his candy cane shirt. His shirt looks like a candy cane, so I keep calling it a candy cane shirt. But before he gets, a little more than halfway down to the ring, here comes Dan Lambert and Ethan Page running up behind him to catch him, to stop him. You know, Dan does his typical Dan thing of, there's no money in this fight right now, don't fight right now. And that's pretty much how that went.
Yeah. I actually somehow skipped ahead in my notes and missed like my couple lines about this. Because this is when I stepped away for a minute. Um, I do remember that there was at least a point to it that was better than the previous promo, but it was actually the next video that I was actually hyped about saying that was going to be a really good promo.
Oh, the
That
Mark Sterling.
wait, what the hell? Where the hell was Mark
you,
Sterling at? Because the next thing I
Mark
remember was the
Sterling
Young
came right
Bucks.
after that, dude. Oh yeah, yeah. I think you walked away during this part here. But yeah,
Was
Mark
that the clip
Sterling.
before the commercial?
After this is it was another quick one. So right before the commercial, Mark Sterling says that Wardlow doesn't need to be worried about winning a TNT championship because if he doesn't face 20 security guards, he's going to be sued for the damages that against I don't know what he's calling them, like the American Security Guard Society or something weird.
Yeah, I I remember hearing you vaguely in my ears, listening on my headbuds, say something about he's got to fight 20 dudes. I was like, wait, I thought that was the MJF stick now to make people go through person after person after person.
No, it's Mark Sterling
Gotcha.
now. He's gonna make Wardlow fight 20 guys.
I was wondering,
When, I don't know, but he's got to fight 20 guys so he
um,
doesn't get sued.
they announced it. I think it had the Road Rager colors to it.
Road Rage.
It's a
Is that
special episode
next?
coming up.
Okay. Okay.
I
Well,
forgot
there
what
we go.
day. Um, all right, let's get to the thing that I was to be really, really
There we
excited
go.
for.
There we go. Now we can get
Yes.
to it.
Got a video. Young Bucks backstage talk about how they had a hell of a week because in that big tag team match they picked the tag team champions. Then they turn around and they beat the Lucha Brothers all back home in California, having a great week. So it's time for them to get their tag team titles back. Cue the Hardy Boys, who point out that they just beat them, the Young Bucks, clean at Double or Nothing. So they should get a tag team title shot. Alright, so randomly, Christian, Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus walk in. Christian is the only one to say a damn word again. Goes on a nice rant saying they all have nice points. They kind of make obvious hints to it, saying, we're going to do something that made us famous and made, and points at the unbox and it says, made you guys fans. Next week, triple threat ladder match for the tag team championships.
Ooh.
Jungle Boy just stares out like, dude, what the fuck? So, yeah, this is getting us closer and closer to the end of Christian with them and the belts getting off of those guys and back to a tag team that's actually a tag team versus the guy that everybody knows the company wants to push and a guy dressing as a dinosaur.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, we've been talking about it for a little bit now, but that split, it's coming. It's it might even be next week.
Yep, there's been little things along the way where they kind of question Christian, but this is kind of an over the top one. Like, dude, seriously, like you just
Twice in a row.
volunteer us for a triple threat tag team title match again, but also now you want to include ladders? Like, don't no, you don't talk for us. Like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah. I think that's gonna be dope. I'm gonna be cheering for the Young Bucks next week. I definitely want to see the Young Bucks get that win. Um,
It's not the way that I thought about it, but remember I said whoever loses at Double or Nothing, they'd probably face each other for tag team titles down the road in a ladder match or a TLC match and get the titles
yeah,
to like get back their win. I did not expect both of those teams to be included in a ladder match so shortly after for a tag team titles. I figured one of them would be champions first before it would happen.
yeah. It's like the Hardys. If this was like 15 years ago, I would be so hyped and want the Hardys to be getting that belt or getting those belts. But their best days are for sure behind them, and I would be sad to see them get it. I want the Bucks to get that belt.
Also, can we like quit making Jeff Hardy go through car wrecks like every 35 days? That would be great.
Seriously, man. Like, I appreciate that he's willing to do the things that he does still, but it's hard to watch sometimes now, just with like his injury history and just knowing that he's like in his mid to upper 40s now. Like it's just hard to watch that.
Yeah, I think
Ooh,
I forgot how.
yeah.
I know. I think like early 40s maybe for him. Matt's got a
Okay.
few years on him, but I don't know exactly where they're at. But either way,
I'm gonna say
even
probably mid
being
40s.
but even being in your 40s and looking at the career that he's put himself through already, like no, you don't need to do a car wreck every because it was only early on in the Owen versus Darby, and the Owen just wrapped up. So you figure what maybe a little over a month ago.
Yep. And he's about to be he's gonna do a swanton off the ladder for sure. So fingers crossed for you, Jeff, because we love you. We just we don't want to see you get hurt because it gets scary watching those spots sometimes.
Oh yeah,
But sure
especially
to be
as
a
we
fun
get
match.
older and older and older, and
I know.
like when we were young and able to watch like the TLC matches, that was one thing. We were young, our bodies felt a lot better. We didn't
Mhm.
know how bad our bodies could feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, I can feel that in my back.
Sorry, I
Like
gotta
just
call off
watching it,
work
I can
tomorrow.
feel it.
I hurt my back just watching Jeff Hardy jump off a ladder, so I gotta call off.
Right.
Speaking about feeling bad because there wasn't really anything good about what we watched next.
Yeah. This is Thunderosa and Maria Shafir for the AEW Women's Championship. I kind of feel like they just put this in here because people have been complaining about how little they're using Thunderosa,
Plus,
and this
half your
was a
men's
poor
roster was
attempt.
in the very first match of the night.
Y- Yeah, that's that's also true. Most of the men's roster was already in a match today. So yeah, here we go. Here's a match. But yeah, I don't. There wasn't really much to talk about in the match. To
Rosa
me,
won
Rosa did. Yeah, obviously she won.
with a roll up,
Um,
by the way, not a finisher or anything.
yeah, 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 which I thought was pretty cool. Is they're like, oh, she had to use a wrestling move to beat the the mixed martial artist, which oh, that's a cool way to win. But the good stuff happened after this match. As after Rosa gets the pin.
The
Okay,
good
yeah,
stuff.
okay, yeah, all right. We'll put them in the quotes. The good stuff happens after the match, but Shafir attacks Rosa after she gets the win. Um, Shafir puts Rosa in that weird, lame submission that she uses. Tony Storm, once Thunder Rosa is down and in this submission forever, Tony Storm comes running into the ring for the save. She drop kicks Shafir in the back of the head. Rosa gets a Thunder whatever driver. I forgot the name of her move on Shafir. And while Sh- Thunder Rosa kind of has Shafir down on the ground, Tony Storm goes over to the belt and picks it up. And then we've got a brief, awkward stare down between the two of them. Like, hey, don't touch my belt. Obviously, they're going to be fighting for the belt very soon. This seems like it's going to probably be the next pay per view match that they set up for women's,
It
unless if
might.
it's like a special episode type of thing.
It could also because we're in that territory. It might be something that they kind of tinker with and just do small stuff, and then maybe it gets held off all the way to Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and I was thinking either pay per view or some kind of special episode match.
Really all depends because I don't know what. Yeah, because Thunder Rosa really doesn't have much of a story right now going to know what would be next, so it's probably going to be sooner rather than later. The only downside is I don't care for either of them.
Yeah.
Like I like Rosa as a person. I appreciate her as a wrestler, but
Mm-hmm.
does she come anywhere remotely close to what Britt Baker does for that division? No.
Mhm.
Does she come close to what Jade does for the division? Maybe within like the
Like,
luchador,
I'm gonna
like
say her
kind of
wrestling
wrestling community
abilities,
kind of aspect and her experience, but in terms of like branding,
but
charisma,
yeah,
star
no,
power,
yeah. Mm-mm. Like there are two stars in the women's division right now, and it's pretty clear who they are, and it's not the champ. But speaking of our women's stars, we get a Baddies promo next.
I am going to let you talk about this, but I have one gripe that I want to knock out before I let you just gush over it. The one thing I do want to point out is they say Tony's getting a lot of his steps in because he's back there with the TBS Women's Champs, Jade Cargill, Red Velvet, and the Baddies.
Yeah.
Kira fucking Hogan. If you're gonna
Yeah.
say
How you
Red
say
Velvet's
Jay
name,
Carville, Red Velvet, and the Baddies? There's only one more person left. So Kiera Hogan is now named the Baddies.
you can either A, say Jade and the Baddies, and I will accept that because you're saying Red Velvet and Kira. I'm good with that. Just from a grammatical and common sense standpoint, it makes sense. Also, I get it. They're actually like the same kind of level. Not anywhere close to Jade's level in terms of AEW totem pull. Um, but you said Red Velvet's name. Just
Yeah.
say the last name. Say her fucking name. Put some respect on it.
Say her name. Um, so this promo, first off, I do have to mention the baddies, our baddies. Oh, I honestly don't remember what they were saying a whole lot because I was just drooling.
Oh, it was a
Uh,
relatively pointless promo. All it did
but
was
yeah,
set up the match for Friday.
yeah, I did catch one thing I thought that was pretty funny was when Stokely was calling out Chris Statlander and Anna Jay. He called Chris Statlander Chris Highlander. It's pretty good. But yeah, they basically just set up Red Velvet versus Chris Statlander on Rampage. Everybody walks off except for Jade. Jade gets ready to walk off, and then she turns to Tony and she tells Tony to cut the shit because we almost forgot about it. And then she walks off with everybody, all sexy and gangster like. Tony needs to cut that shit, man. I'm telling you. I don't know what shit it is, but he needs to cut it.
I mean, I at first I tried to figure out what the hell she was talking about because didn't really make sense when she first started using it on him. Like I would understand if he was kind of gassing up her opponent and she was saying cut it, like stop talking about them like that. But in
Mhm.
context, he really didn't, and then it just became like a line against Tony, and I was like, okay,
Yeah,
it's just the thing now.
yeah, it's the thing, and just gotta keep going with it. You gotta always
Knowing
tell Tony to cut that shit.
Jade on screen with Tony, it's about as guaranteed that she is gonna say cut the shit as guaranteed as Mox getting the main event victory.
Yeah, yeah. We did actually. We got a good match. I thought
Hmm.
entertaining match, but I thought it was obviously expected when you throw Kyle O'Reilly in a main event match. Expect it to be a good match. He's probably not going to win, but at least you're getting a good match. But yeah, so it was they both have kind of similar styles, so the match worked really well. Super brawly as expected. Lots of strikes. We do see it looks like Moxley has a bloody lip at one point in the match here. I don't think that was fake at all. Um, O'Reilly looks like his jaw is really actually hurting here after some of those strikes, especially
What did
The
Regal
one that
call it?
gave Regal the collie wobbles. As Moxley knocks O'Reilly into the middle rope, and O'Reilly's teeth are on the middle rope. Moxley kicks O'Reilly in the face, and whew, and
Hold on.
Regal says he couldn't even watch it.
So what it was is Moxley had him in a submission, but his arms were tied up. So he reached out with his mouth to grab the ropes to break the submission. And then
Yeah,
Moxley
yeah,
kicked the ropes, which are actually like steel cables, while he was still biting down on the rope.
yeah, and it gave Regal the collie wobbles. I just know that much.
Cali wobbles. Name of
Whatever
this
the
pin.
collie wobbles are, it gave him those. I don't like the collie wobbles. I don't think I'd want any collie wobbles.
And later, actually, Cal had this really good transition from submission to submission to submission on Mox, where
When he reverses the pile driver, is that the one you're talking about?
yeah, but then after because I forgot what submission he had him in first, but then he rolled over into like a leg lock kind of situation on the side and then grabbed the other leg. And then while he was kind of leaning forward, somehow Moxley got his hand inside of his mouth and Cal like was butting down. I don't know what was exactly happening where that's advantageous to anybody. But all of a sudden, after his hand was like in his mouth, he just reaches back and you have a close up of it of him, and it looked like he made contact with him, like it wasn't pulled. It looked like he hit him square in the jaw.
Yeah,
And then I noticed Kyle even more kind of like holding his mouth. So I'm like, all right, Kyle sells really, really well, but it's also possible that I could imagine that dude's in pain.
yeah. 'Cause it looked because these two are just so good at what they do. Like a lot, it's so clean. A lot of it looks like it, like like ow, he actually took a shot to the jaw. Ah, but my favorite highlight was in the middle when they got into their little slap box thing. They're just slapping each other. And then eventually it gets into a lariat stalemate where they're both trying to take each other down with a clothesline. And it ends up being a stalemate, and they both drop to their knees, like holding up against each other, like they were Bubba and Forrest Gump.
Now, I actually thought the initial view that they had was great because so often when you see those angles, you're expecting that you'll see that them talking. The initial view that we held for a long time, you couldn't see Moxley's mouth, but Kyle O'Reilly just looked like he was dead in gas. His mouth did not move. It was just wide open, like he was exhausted and tired. So just even them building back up, it was shot in such a way where it didn't look like they were sitting there communicating and stuff. Like you tend to know that they are.
Yeah, like we thought it was going to be. It looked like as close to a real fight as we're going to get inside of a wrestling ring. I loved it.
hmm Moxley ends up going on later to get the win with the paradigm shift. Not really anything added to it at the
Yeah,
end. Um,
right. Like
Actually,
he's
one of
gonna.
those episodes that we haven't had late. A lot of our episodes lately, they go off the show with some kind of angle or something going on. We haven't had that many recently that has just been, hey, he won. Cool, go off the air.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, they're but yeah, his opponent for the interim AEW championship, I believe they said is going to be decided on Sunday
Yep,
this week, the 12th.
you'll get a match over there in Japan to figure out who it is. It's Tanahashi's still in it, considering he was the one who answered Punk, but I forgot who the other person was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they said uh Goto,
Oh
something
yeah, yep,
Goto.
yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah, Goto. Yeah.
And we'll know that by Dynamite next week because it'll
Mhm.
obviously be after Rampage this week. So that still leaves a decent amount of time because let's see, that'll be the 15th 22nd. No. So if next week's the 15th, that will leave one more Dynamite in between that and Forbidden Door.
Really?
Because, yep, you'd have the
Okay, so yeah, we
22nd, the
got
pay per
that
view's
down.
the
So,
26th. I mean, you have another
so yeah, we
Rampage.
have. Wait, so the pay per views. So yeah, we have next week and then one more after. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So we've got three more rampages, two more dynamites until Forbidden Door.
Will whoever wins in Japan be on an airplane shortly thereafter to be here by Wednesday?
Hmm.
Or will
I,
they a little bit of time in between and they'll have just like a face off 4 days before? Because I feel like you don't do that on Rampage. I feel like you do it on a
yeah,
Dynamite.
yeah. I don't. Yeah, that's too big for Rampage.
I
Like,
could.
yeah, got to be Dynamite.
Yeah, I'm not
Or
sure.
at the very least, there be some kind of promo.
Yeah, yeah, that would make sense. Maybe on the 15th you get like a video package and then they're here on the 22nd. Because
Yeah,
the pay-per-view's happening here, so they're gonna be traveling sometime in the near future. It's just what show of Dynamite will they be here for?
yeah,
It doesn't really matter
definitely.
about that one because the biggest thing that's gonna happen is the response from Okada. When does that happen? Because that's what's gonna be where the news is at.
Yeah, and they're still being very quiet about how Jay White is going to be involved because you know he has to have a match. Unless if there's like he's injured or something, but I don't think so.
I'm trying to think because obviously it's not going to be Jay White versus Adam Cole, which would make sense if those would be the two left over if you got Hangman versus Okada. So do you somehow do Adam Cole versus Okada and Hangman versus Jay White?
Maybe
I know people have been hyped at the prospect of Adam or Hangman versus Okada. I have to be careful saying the name Adam with two of them in this freaking segment.
all these damn atoms.
But there was a part about the main event that made me think about a certain spot earlier in the night that got a reaction out of you. You were talking about the strike fest between O'Reilly and Moxley.
Yeah.
Remember when Andrade slapped the shit out?
Oh my God. Who did he slap? I can't even remember who he slapped, but he slapped the sweat off the man's chest.
Can't remember because it was later in the match. It was after it was pure chaos, but I think there was still like maybe six or so people left. Like it wasn't like the final three or four or anything.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a few more people still left in there.
which
But yeah, I can't remember who it was, but he slapped that man's chest so hard that you could literally see the beads of sweat fly up.
it was somebody smaller than him,
Hmm.
but I can't remember. Was
That
Silver
doesn't narrow it
possibly?
down
I
that
don't know
much
when
because
Silver got eliminated.
pretty much everybody besides like Powerhouse Hobbs and Keith Lee and Jake Hager are smaller than him.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. I just remember I had to stop him, just go silent
Like,
as you
for
screamed his
some reason, I
name.
want to say it was Bobby Fish.
I think you just want to pick on Bobby Fish tonight.
Look, it's his fault for putting his mouthpiece on his ear. It's nasty, man. I didn't tell him to do that.
Man, he's old timey as fuck. He survived this long. He'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, he was around back in the 1920s. So he's gonna be fine in the 2020s.
Perfect. Yeah, he's immune to a lot of stuff at this point. He's all right.
Yeah.
But
All right. All right, sir. So favorite match of the night.
um, I'm gonna say without re-looking at anything yet, main event. Um,
Okay.
Finley versus Hangman was like a good match for what it was, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, I guess it depends on what
Which
you're
is a
looking for. If
surprise.
you want to just talk about athleticism and stuff, it's going to be Matthews versus Pac. Um, Story wise, just watching the match and enjoying the match, it was the main event. So probably the main event overall because it's it's the story of the match of beating the crap out of each other that makes you sit on the edge of your seat.
Yeah. Yeah. I up until that match, I thought that my match of the night was gonna be Matthews and Pack. But but yeah, O'Reilly and Moxley definitely took the show with that last match. That main event was definitely worthy of a main event.
Which I'm
So
happy
I'm
for
with you.
Kyle. But
Yeah.
also, you got to see during that little baby face promo he did backstage, which is why I told you when you said you wanted to see more personality from Kyle. I said, no, you don't.
Because it's like, see, yeah, I don't know a ton about him because, yeah, he's rarely ever on the mic. But just seeing the matches that he puts on, like, all right, make me care about him more because the matches are great, but I just don't give a shit.
He said he has his own kind of humor, and he's good as like an ensemble character to kind of be the silly one kind of stuff, but also be kind of weird and feisty. But like I like him. I just also understand personality wise, I have yet to see anything from him that makes me go, push this guy to the world title.
Yeah,
And I watched him for a while. Um, I can love his work. I just, I really like the dynamic of having him a part of the groups he's been with because it's worked out well for him. And he doesn't have to be the person who is under the bright lights all the time with the microphone.
yeah. Oh man. Yeah,
But
that was match of the night. Obviously, my moment of my like non-match moment of the night, the baddies.
and I love
I
even
feel like
though
I'm gonna pick the baddies no matter what, even though the promo was blah.
hmm
Just the fact that I got to see them today
so
was cool.
there was like no substance to that promo besides like, hey, this is why we're having this match on Friday that no one's really talked about yet. But without having the substance, I thought they did a pretty good job of Jade gets to talk. The match is against Red Velvet, but they got a couple of points where Kira got to kind of be the focus of what's in front of the camera, like being the one person to say a certain line or be the one person who did a certain motion or whatever it might have been. So at least she wasn't just a background character.
Still saying if they come out dressed up as the Powerpuff Girls one day, I'm gonna lose my shit, man. I'm gonna tweet all three of them like,
I'll put
hey, come out dressed as the Powerpuff Girls one day, and yeah,
cool. You just gave me a project.
I'll
I'm
die
gonna
happy.
try and find like pictures of that live action one that they're making. See if I can find anything with the outfits that they're in, and maybe Photoshop it. Obviously, the cartoon isn't gonna work because if I Photoshop a real
Right.
face onto a cartoon, not gonna work. I can't draw a cartoon, so somebody else get on it. I'm not paying you.
Yeah, one of you.